The globalization of the fishing industry and the effect it has on the sustainability of fisheries resources. First, we need to understand what globalization is. Globalization is when the world connects. It has happened over time because of increasing trade and knowledge exchange between countries, which has been possible because of new technology. People think globalization is new because of the improvements and innovation of technology, though it has been going on for hundreds of years. It started when people migrated around the globe, sharing their knowledge, ideas, cultures, and goods from their home country. This created demand on new products, which allowed people to work in specialized jobs like carpenters and tailors and sell their products outside their homelands. The exchange of these products was the beginning of global trade, which linked up markets and created better communication between societies. Now that you know what globalization is, I can explain the effect of globalization on the fishing industry. Fishing, the catching of aquatic wildlife, is a form of hunting that has been practiced for centuries. However, in recent decades, some types of fishing have become industrialized. Industrialization of the fishing methods began in the British Isles with the growth of fishing villages. Following this, in the early 19th century, these fishermen started operating from steam trawlers, which were later replaced by vessels with more efficient engines. Around the end of the Second World War, industrialization of the fishing industry improved with development of the freezer trawlers, which allowed fish to be frozen at sea. Radar and acoustic fish finders to help locate the migration routes of the fish and improve fishery science to understand the dynamics of the fish stocks. This allows fishing boats to fish for longer, further from home, and deeper into the oceans. The industrialization of the fisheries industry has improved fish trade, which has resulted in the increase of demand for fish. More people want to eat fish, and they can now get different fish. Though, on the other hand, these current fishing methods have caused the stocks to decline significantly and sometimes even crash, causing global concern. Overfishing has been a recurring problem affecting fish stocks. In the past, overfishing was mainly in harsh climates, where fish would exist in small numbers due to environmental factors, making survival difficult. It was because the mature, larger, fertile females were often caught leaving the smaller and less fertile fish to try and sustain the population, which could result in a drop of the population or, at worst, a total crash of the population. In recent years, overfishing occurs in around 60% of fish stocks. In 1950, the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, of the United Nations began collecting global statistics on fisheries catches. Since the time, fisheries production or catches have rapidly increased on an international scale. Around 77.9 billion tons of fish is caught annually, and of that, 1 in 5 fish are caught illegally. The growth caused the industrial-scale fishing to begin and compete with the small-scale fishing and threaten smaller, less individual fisheries and communities. Another problem caused by the huge demand for fish is the waste of bycatch and sometimes dumping of overcatch. This is when the fishing vessel throws away catch of species like turtle or sharks, or if they catch too much to store on the boat, they dump it overboard. Around 300,000 whales and dolphins are killed annually by bycatch. An example of overfishing is in 1971 to 1972, where the catch of the fish called the Peruvian anchovy rose to about 18 million tons, a catch that was far higher than the safe catch of 12 million tons. This overfishing caused a collapse of the fishery. Despite a growth fishing effort, which is more fishers, more fishing vessels, and better fishing gear around the 1980s, the total world catch dropped because of overfishing, particularly in the developed world. This meant that many fishing boats moved to other oceans with less well-developed fisheries, such as around Africa. Today, the health of fish stocks is measured by comparing the unfished biomass or number of fish species in a given area before fishing started compared to the current amount. The optimal or best catch is also known as the maximum sustainable yield. This is the maximum amount of fish that can be caught, leaving a sustainable biomass or number of fish that can reproduce for the next season. There are many challenges to keep the catch at this level or below. This is especially a problem in countries with weaker governance and weaker legal systems and a lack of ability to enforce the legal systems. Legal jurisdiction refers to authority over a certain area or person, and in this case, the legal jurisdiction or laws are usually applied by courts or industrial fishing cases of illegal fishing. So, the court has the authority to listen to the case and make a ruling or decide on what the punishment should be. When there is a weak jurisdiction, this means that the court in question cannot take strong enough action to stop illegal fishing. Globalization has meant that the movement of fishers and fishing vessels to these areas increase the fishing pressure and the risk of illegal fishing. It is also more difficult for countries to manage foreign fishing vessels, as they often fish far from shore, where managing them and making sure they fish sustainably is difficult. Illegal fishing is a terrible thing that is usually caused by greed. This greed of people results in overfishing, cause ecological damage, and changes fishery and ocean ecosystems. Also, in more recent years, there has been a demand for bycatch. The unintentionally caught fish and other marine beings like protected seabirds, sea cucumbers, and turtles. This also impacts on the ecosystem. The majority of illegal fishing is found in Africa. However, it is a global problem with catches estimated to be the value around 23.5 billion every year. This is mainly tuna caught in the Pacific and Indian Oceans and West Africa. Some of the companies and individuals involved in illegal fishing also smuggle drugs, traffic humans, and trade in illegal wildlife products. This is a serious problem that undermines sustainable development in Africa. Why can't we stop illegal fishing? Because of the combination of the lack of trained people, not enough money, weak governments, and poor legal systems. And finally, because of corruption. Countries need to strengthen their legal systems, train their people to understand them, provide enough money to work together to improve cooperations between them and the countries that the fishers come from. The effects of globalization are increasing each year. Scientists predict that by 2050, the world fish stocks will crash. This is scary, so what can we do? You can educate yourself and others to the importance of sustainable fisheries to the health of our planet. You can protect the environment by making sure you and others follow the rules. For example, if you want to go fishing, make sure you get a license. Or if you want to eat fish, make sure you only buy sustainably caught fish and don't waste the fish you buy. You can also put pressure on governments, organizations, and other people to also act responsibly, and you can make sure that you always lead by example. Let's work together for a sustainable future.